Ugh, my phone was glowing like a haunted disco ball again. 3 a.m., suffering from insomnia. I scrolled past the lame Insta stories and boring tweets until I saw this page, The Midnight Whisperers, some anonymous form of unknown people. Without thinking much, I followed it and got an immediate request to join their community chat group. I was desperate for some late-night weirdos who understood the struggle, so I accepted. I got an immediate text from this username, midnight_owl. The profile had a picture of a black rose, so I assumed she was a girl. You know how these days, asking people's genders can be quite a risk. We hit it off with our similar music taste, but soon she started saying stuff that was, like, way too creepy and accurate. She knew my fave coffee order. Seriously, who even remembers the oat milk latte with extra caramel drizzle? I was surprised myself. She even mentioned the chipped nail polish on my pinky finger I kept forgetting to fix. This all freaked me out, but everyone on the forum was chill. Plus, Moonlit Owl was like super insightful with my existential dread, so I overlooked it. Then came the packages. Not creepy stalker stuff at first. A random candle that smelled like Grandma's house. Gross. A beat-up copy of the book I was obsessed with as a kid. I also found a bird feather with a note tied to it. It read,
"I want to be like Jessica."
Thought it was kind of cool at first, like a secret handshake with Moonlit Owl. Maybe I found an internet buddy. Slowly, things got shady. One very random evening, my mobile phone buzzed. To my utter disbelief, it was a pic of me at my usual coffee shop. The caption read,
"Love watching you, Jessica."
Seriously messed up. My stomach twisted like I was on a death-defying roller coaster. 3 days later, another text. This time, she sent me a video. Me, sleeping. It was filmed from outside my window. My heart hammered like hell out of fear and anxiety. I have a stalker. This wasn't some harmless internet friend anymore. Amelia, my ride-or-die roommate, with nerves of steel, saw the fear in my eyes. She tried using her tech genius brain to find info about the mysterious stalker. But Moonlit Owl was a complete digital ghost. No IP address, no traces, nothing. We went full-on defense mode. Burner phone, pepper spray, the whole 9 yards. Even changed all my passwords with two-factor authentication. Duh. The Midnight Whisperers were out of the picture too. Just shut down by Instagram. Apparently, other users also reported it to the authorities. I finally thought I was done with this, but then something happened. One night, Amelia said,
"Jesse, how about we take a trip to my uncle's cabin this weekend?"
I frowned and said,
But I was thinking to lay low. Just not in the mood for socializing, you know?
Amelia gasped at the idea and said the cabin was in the middle of nowhere. There's apparently no Wi-Fi. The caretaker leaves at dawn, and it has a complete pantry to provide us, so we won't even have to go out to buy food.
Oh, great. This is something I really need.
We drove to the cabin, and our first night went without any trouble. The next day, we were returning to the cabin from an early hike when we spotted a feather lying on the porch. Seemed like someone left it like a secret message. Seeing that feather, it hit me. Oh my God, Moonlit Owl has found me again. That night, I could barely sleep. Amelia and I locked the doors and windows and sat on the couch clutching a baseball bat. Suddenly, the lights went out, and eerie silence remained for 5 to 7 seconds. Then we heard the porch floorboards creak. We were able to hear the footsteps outside our door. Amelia grabbed her pepper spray. I too was ready to fight whatever breaks in. But the footsteps stopped. And then, out of nowhere, a loud thud hit our door, breaking the lock. Whoever broke it was now standing in our living room. By then, I was sure that I'd been catfished by some creepy online dude, but as we flashed our lights on the intruder, we were left speechless. It wasn't some dude. Moonlit Owl was a disheveled old lady, and she was clutching a huge metal spanner in her hand. Pretty sure she used it to break our doorknob as well. A creepy smile rested on her evil-looking face.
Oh, Jessica! Come out, come out! I'm only going to rip your face so I can wear it as a mask.
She called out to me. I didn't know what to do, but Amelia jumped in and sprayed the entire bottle of pepper spray on her wrinkly face. She screamed in the burning pain and then bolted into the woods like a startled rabbit. Her screams echoed in the forest, but I was sure she'll be back. I was confident that she was desperate for me for whatever reason. So we called Amelia's uncle and he came for us with the cops. They searched the woods and the property, but found nothing but weird animal tracks and some muddy footsteps. The lady, like a ghost stalker, vanished. 2 years have gone by this incident, but the fear still lingers in me. Maybe Moonlit Owl is still out there, watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. The thoughts send shivers down my spine, a cold reminder that some things are scarier than the shadows in the woods, the secrets that lurk behind a seemingly innocent username, waiting just a click away. I've always had a fascination with the paranormal. Ghost stories, haunted houses, the supernatural, they all intrigued me. When I stumbled upon an online forum discussing haunted places in my town, I was hooked. One user, Outrageous Avatars, posted a chilling tale about the infamous house on Sunset Street. Its history was horrific. A family brutally murdered in the 1920s by the father, who then hanged himself in the attic. Over the decades, there had been countless reports of eerie happenings, but none as vivid as those described by Outrageous Avatars. He had posted 6 months ago that he had sneaked into the house. As he walked through the decaying rooms, he encountered a floating yellow balloon that seemed to follow him, but would stop as soon as he looked at it. He also mentioned a sudden metallic taste running in his mouth, feeling ticklish at the first floor bedroom, and many other things. But the one that stood out the most was him coming face to face with a ghostly specter, a gaunt woman with hollow eyes, her mouth twisted into a scream. He had a camera which was recording everything, but in his panic, he dropped his camera in the hall and fled the house. His post ended with a cryptic message: the dead live there, between life and death. I couldn't resist. I messaged him, partly skeptical, partly fascinated.
Did you really see all that?
That and much more. We texted for a week, flirting a bit, sharing a mutual love for the macabre. Then one day, he invited me to explore the haunted house with him, and I agreed. When I arrived at Sunset Street, dusk had settled. I waited outside for him, but I guess he was running late. My phone wasn't in network there, so I couldn't even text him. After some time passed, I noticed movement inside the house.
He must be waiting inside already.
I pushed open the creaky door, the stale air greeting me with a shiver. The house was a relic of its gruesome past, peeling wallpaper, broken furniture, and aura of desolation. I called out his name, but only silence answered. As I moved through the hallway, I felt a cold draft and noticed my shadow on the wall casted by the bright moonlight outside. It mimicked my movements, but with a delayed reaction, as if it had a mind of its own. I froze, my heart pounding.
This is insane.
I forced myself to continue. In the dining room, the temperature dropped sharply. My breath fogged in front of me and a metallic taste overwhelmed my mouth. Suddenly, I saw it. A yellow balloon floating towards me, eerily silent. My pulse quickened as it hovered, following my every step. Yet, when I looked at it, it stopped. I turned a corner and entered what must have been the children's room. Old toys were scattered across the floor, and I heard a faint giggle and then the sound of a ball bouncing. I spun around, but there was nothing. As soon as I moved out of the room, I saw her, the ghostly specter my friend had mentioned in the forum post. She stood on the stairway, hollow eyes, pale skin, and a deformed broken jaw like it had been shot by a bullet. She was holding onto the yellow balloon, Suddenly, my mouth tasted metallic again.
Oh my god!
I backed away, my mind screaming at me to run. The ghost floated closer, her presence oppressive and suffocating. I turned and fled, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls. As I bolted down the stairs and headed for the door, I spotted a dusty camera lying on the floor. I grabbed it on impulse, recognizing it being the lost camera of my online friend. Bursting out the front door, I didn't stop until I reached my car. I reached home, heart still racing, and collapsed on the couch.
What did I get myself into?
I texted my online friend, but he never reverted. That night, curiosity overcame me and I charged the camera. It still worked. There were videos of the house, empty rooms, broken windows, stairways. The first few were uneventful, but then I found one, grainy and dark. It showed the interior of the house, but the camera shook as if the person holding it was running. Suddenly, it fell to the ground, and a shadowy figure appeared. The same jawless woman I had seen. The video ended abruptly with a blood-curdling scream of a boy. At exactly that moment, my phone buzzed. There was a message from Outrageous Avatars. I found my liberation. Thank you. Chills ran down my spine as I realized that I had been talking to a dead boy this whole time. A colleague from work sent me the link to a new fitness tracker app, and I thought it was perfect timing. At 29, I had an on and off again relationship with workouts, but I was looking for ways to optimize my routine. The app promised personalized workout plans and progress tracking, which sounded revolutionary.
Why not give it a try?
I downloaded it and began using it immediately. The app was impressive. It sent me reminders, offered tips, and even adjusted my workout plans based on my performance. Everything felt tailor-made for me. Weeks went by and I was thrilled with my progress, but soon things started feeling off. The app seemed to know more about me than it should. It started with small things. The app reminded me to hydrate right after I had finished a glass of water. I laughed it off as coincidences. Then, one evening, it sent a notification. Enjoying the new yoga pose? Here are 5 more ways that'll make you bend your back. I had just started trying a new pose in my living room, alone. But the strange part was that the app never recommended it. I had seen it on TV. So then, how did it know? On another occasion, it suggested I wear my blue leggings from my runs since I hadn't worn those leggings in a week. Outrageous. And then one night, as I was watching a movie, a message popped up. Snacking for a horror movie night? Try Fox Nuts. That had rattled me enough, but the creepiest moment was when I got a notification one night. A perfect night for some Stephen King. Don't forget to hydrate when your throat dries. I hadn't even bought it online nor searched for it. It was a purchase on a whim at a bookstore. Then how did the app know? I tried to ignore the unsettling feeling creeping over me, blaming it up to technology being eerily advanced. But my paranoia grew. I began feeling watched, always looking over my shoulder. Then, one morning, it suggested a new route for my run. I decided to follow it, curious to see where it led. The path took me to a secluded area, far from my usual route. Suddenly, I realized that a man in a white t-shirt and a blue cap had been following me. Panic surged through me, and I sprinted back home, deleting the app as soon as I stepped through the door. But the feeling of being watched didn't go away. Desperate, I contacted my cousin Dave, who was a cybersecurity expert. I needed to know what was going on. His face turned pale as he stared at his screen. Selena, there's a hidden file in the app's code. It's spyware. He traced the code back to an IP address. My blood ran cold when he revealed the owner. It was the IT guy from my office, Mark, who had recommended me the app. He had always been quiet, almost invisible, but clearly he'd been watching me. He's been monitoring your every move for months, using the app's features to manipulate your routine. He had access to your camera, microphone, everything. My stomach churned as Dave showed me other disturbing logs. We called the police immediately, who used the proofs to get a warrant and went to arrest Mark. What they found in his drives scared me to the bones. Mark had been listening to my conversations, cloning my voice to create an AI avatar of myself, which he kept as his personal girlfriend. He was watching me through the phone's camera. There were folders filled with my private pictures and videos, including moments I thought were completely between me and the guy I was in a long-distance relationship with. He even kept notes on my daily activities, my likes and dislikes, even my sleep and menstrual patterns, using all the data to model his AI girlfriend. The amount of data he had collected on me was horrifying. He had detailed logs of everything. What I ate, where I went, who I spoke to. He even recorded videos of me in my own home without my knowledge.
How could I have been so blind?
No one could have seen this coming. The sense of violation was overwhelming. I couldn't believe someone I saw almost every day at work had been doing this to me. The police assured me that they would prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law, but the damage was done. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and utterly terrified. Privacy, I realized, is a joke in this world. I just wish that no one else has to endure the horrors that I went through.